Welcome.
Maple Street never slept. Even at 3 in the damn morning, something was always popping off. Sirens crying in the distance, drunk college kids stumbling out of sketchy bars, dealers whispering business in dark corners. But that night, the whole block felt dead. No music, no laughter, just cold wind sliding through trash-filled alleys. Detective Marcus Reed stepped out of his unmarked cruiser and lit a cigarette, exhaling slowly. Something felt wrong. Way wrong. Officer Jenna Cole ducked under the yellow tape beside him and shook her head. The air felt heavy, like the city itself was holding its breath. Apartment building 312 stood tall and quiet, windows dark like empty eye sockets. They climbed to the 3rd floor and found apartment 3B with the door cracked open. The smell hit first, metallic, thick, unmistakable. Blood. Layla Brooks lay on the living room floor, 27 years old, freelance journalist, sharp mind, fearless mouth. Her eyes were wide open, frozen like she'd seen death coming and couldn't look away. Jenna knelt beside her and quietly confirmed multiple stab wounds across her chest and neck. Whoever did this didn't hesitate. They went savage. Marcus scanned the room. No forced entry. The coffee mug is still warm on the table. Laptop open. On the screen glowed a document titled Project, Dark Whispers. Marcus frowned. This wasn't some random hit. This was planned. 2 weeks earlier, Layla Brooks had been digging into something big. She wasn't chasing clout like most people online. She chased truth. Dirty landlords, crooked council members, fake charities laundering cash. She exposed them all. But this new investigation was different. Darker. It started with a burner phone message that simply said, "They're watching you." Layla asked who it was. The reply came slowly. "If you want to know what's really going down in this city, meet me Friday. Midnight. Maple Street." Layla smirked and typed back that she wasn't scared. That was her first mistake. Back at the crime scene, Marcus searched the bedroom and found a small metal lockbox hidden in the closet. Inside was a USB drive marked in black Sharpie, DW_01. Jenna confirmed nothing had been stolen. Layla's wallet and jewelry were still there. That meant one thing. This wasn't robbery. It was personal. Their first suspect was Tyler Grant, Layla's ex-gym trainer. Anger problems. Neighbors said they argued loud. In the interrogation room, Tyler looked wrecked, sweat dripping down his face. He claimed he'd been home watching Netflix. Marcus gave him that look, the one cops save for liars. Jenna slid a photo of Layla's body across the table. Tyler swallowed hard and swore he loved her. Marcus reminded him Layla had filed a restraining order 3 days earlier. Tyler went quiet. He admitted Layla thought someone was following her, tapping her phone, watching her apartment. He said he thought she was losing it. Next was the neighbor, Richard Hale from 3C. Quiet dude, mid-40s, worked nights. He told police he heard noise, but assumed it was TV. Security footage said otherwise. Richard left the building at 11:47 p.m. Layla's estimated time of death was 12:10. When confronted, Richard started shaking, claiming he'd only stepped out for air. Jenna pointed out he didn't smoke. Richard turned pale. Back at the precinct, Tech opened the USB drive. What they found was wild. Audio recordings of bribes being exchanged. Video clips of politicians shaking hands with known criminals. Screenshots of bank transfers and burner phone texts. Real ugly stuff. One voice in particular stood out. Calm, low, ice cold. If Layla talks, she's done. Marcus pulled off his headphones. This wasn't just murder. This was a cover-up. The last file on the drive was Layla's own voice, recorded shaky and quiet. "If anything happens to me, follow the whispers." Marcus leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. Layla hadn't just been investigating corruption. She'd uncovered something deep, something powerful people were willing to kill for. Over the next few days, bodies started piling up. Richard Hale was found dead in his car, ruled a suicide, though Marcus didn't buy it for a second. Tyler Grant disappeared completely. No phone pings. No credit card hits. Just gone. Meanwhile, anonymous threats started landing in Marcus's inbox. "Back off. This isn't your fight. You don't know who you're messing with." But Marcus wasn't built to back down. Digging deeper into Layla's files, he discovered references to an underground network operating beneath Maple Street. Secret tunnels built decades ago, now used for illegal meetings and cash drops. Politicians, business owners, cops, all tied together in something Layla had named Dark Whispers. A shadow organization controlling contracts, elections, and police reports. Anyone who got too close either disappeared or ended up like Layla. Jenna warned Marcus they were poking a sleeping monster. Internal Affairs suddenly started questioning his past cases. His captain told him to drop the investigation. Even friends on the force stopped returning his calls. Marcus realized he was on his own. One night, Marcus received a message from an unknown number. She trusted the wrong person. Attached was a video clip, grainy footage from Layla's apartment. It showed Jenna entering Layla's place earlier the night she died. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Jenna had been feeding information to Dark Whispers. When confronted, Jenna broke down. She said they'd threatened her family. Said she didn't know they'd kill Layla. But Marcus knew better. Jenna had unlocked Layla's door. She'd let the killer walk right in. The real mastermind turned out to be Marcus's own captain, a respected veteran cop who'd been running Dark Whispers from inside the department for years. Layla had uncovered his financial trail. Jenna had been his inside asset. Tyler had tried to warn Layla and got erased for it. In the end, Marcus leaked everything to federal investigators. The tunnels were raided. Arrests were made. Careers were destroyed. The captain went down hard, screaming betrayal in handcuffs. But Layla was still gone. Weeks later, Marcus stood alone on Maple Street, rain soaking into his coat. He lit a cigarette and stared up at apartment 3B. Dark Whispers was dismantled, but he knew the truth. Evil doesn't die. It just changes faces. He whispered into the night, "You got your story out, Layla. I promise." And somewhere in the city, the shadows listened. The rain was coming down hard that night in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Not the soft, romantic kind either. This was aggressive rain, slamming against windshields and rooftops like the sky was pissed off about something. The kind of weather that makes people stay home, order takeout, and mind their own damn business. But 29-year-old Rachel Monroe was still driving. She had just finished a late shift at the hospital, and all she wanted was her couch, her hoodie, and some trash TV. She didn't notice the gray sedan behind her at first. Most people don't. That's how it always starts. Rachel lived alone in a small duplex near the edge of town. Quiet neighborhood. Mostly older couples and college kids. She pulled into her driveway, grabbed her bag, and walked to her front door. The porch light flickered like it always did. She made a mental note to tell the landlord again. She unlocked the door, stepped inside, and that was the last time anyone saw Rachel Monroe alive. Her body was discovered 2 days later by her sister, who had come by to check on her after Rachel stopped answering calls. Rachel was lying in her bedroom, partially covered with a blanket. No signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no overturned furniture. Just a clean, silent crime scene and a woman who had been strangled with something thin and flexible, probably a cord or zip tie. Detective Paul Mercer arrived within minutes. Mercer had been doing homicide for over a decade. He'd seen some ugly stuff, but this one hit different. Rachel wasn't involved in drugs. No gang ties. No sketchy ex-boyfriends on record. She worked 12-hour shifts helping people breathe again. The kind of person who brought donuts to co-workers and remembered everyone's birthday. Mercer walked through the house slowly, hands in his coat pockets, eyes scanning everything. Rachel's purse was still on the kitchen counter. Wallet inside. Phone missing. Laptop untouched. There was a mug in the sink with dried coffee rings. Her car was parked outside like normal. Whoever killed her didn't come to rob the place. They came for her. The medical examiner estimated the time of death between 11:30 p.m. and midnight. Rachel had arrived home at 11:12 according to traffic cameras. That gave the killer a window of less than 20 minutes. Quick, controlled, efficient. Mercer turned to his partner, Detective Angela Ruiz. No forced entry. That means she either knew him or he followed her in. Ruiz nodded. Or he had a key. They checked Rachel's phone records. The last outgoing text was to her sister. Just got off. Heading home. No suspicious calls. No threats. But something stood out. Rachel had dialed 911 for 7 seconds at 11:18 p.m. The call never connected. It looked like a panic tap. Like she realized something was wrong and didn't have time. That changed everything. They pulled footage from traffic cams near Rachel's route home. At first it was nothing special. Just cars moving through rain. But Ruiz noticed something. A gray sedan appeared behind Rachel's Honda at 3 different intersections. Same vehicle. Same timing. They enhanced the footage. No plates. Of course. They canvassed the neighborhood. One neighbor said she heard a door close around 11:20, but thought it was thunder. Another reported seeing headlights pull away fast about 15 minutes later. No one got a good look at the driver. Rachel's co-workers were shocked. Nobody had beef with her. She wasn't seeing anyone seriously. But one nurse mentioned Rachel had recently complained about a guy who kept showing up at the hospital parking lot. Said he'd asked for her number once and didn't take it very well. That was their first lead. Security pulled footage from the hospital garage. There he was, mid-30s, hoodie, baseball cap, lean build. He watched Rachel walk to her car one night from across the lot. Didn't approach her, just stood there, waiting. They ran facial recognition through DMV databases. No hit, which usually means one of two things: fake identity or someone who knows how to stay invisible. 3 days into the investigation, Rachel's phone pinged off a tower outside town. It was moving, fast. They traced it to a highway rest stop 60 miles south. State troopers were sent immediately. They found the phone smashed in a trash can. That wasn't sloppy. That was deliberate. Mercer knew they were dealing with someone methodical, someone who planned ahead. Then another woman vanished. Her name was Tara Willis, 26. I am a graduate student. Same town, same late-night drive. The same gray sedan caught on camera behind her. This time, they found Tara alive. Barely. She was dumped near a cornfield with duct tape still on her wrists and trauma written all over her face. She had ligature marks on her neck, but somehow survived. In the hospital, Tara could barely speak at first. When she finally did, her voice shook like broken glass. He followed me from campus, she whispered. I thought I was just being paranoid. Then when I got home, he forced his way in. He said he'd been watching me for weeks. Mercer leaned in close. Did you see his face? Tara nodded slowly. Yeah, he didn't hide it. She described him in detail. Scar on left eyebrow. Small tattoo on wrist. Smelled like gasoline and mint. They released a bolo. 2 hours later, a gas station clerk called it in. A guy matching the description had just paid cash for cigarettes and energy drinks. They pulled the footage. Same dude from the hospital garage. Name came back, Evan Cross, 38. Former delivery driver. Fired from 3 jobs in 2 years. Prior arrest for stalking in Nebraska. Charges dropped when the victim moved away. Mercer felt his jaw tighten. Classic pattern. They tracked Evan's last known address to a rundown apartment complex on the south side. SWAT rolled in. Door busted. Apartment empty. But inside they found notebooks. Pages and pages of handwritten routines. Work schedules. Parking habits. Routes home. Rachel's name was circled in red. So was Tara's. Evan had been studying them like prey. They also found a box of burner phones, zip ties, gloves, and a coil of thin nylon rope. This wasn't impulsive. This was practiced. They issued a statewide alert. For 48 hours, Evan Cross disappeared. Then a farmer reported a gray sedan stuck in mud near an abandoned grain silo. Police arrived fast. Evan was inside, trying to dig his way out with a tire iron. He didn't run. He just sat there, staring straight ahead like he already knew it was over. In interrogation, Evan didn't lawyer up. He talked. A lot. Said the world ignored him. Said women never gave him a fair shot. said watching them made him feel powerful. He admitted following Rachel from the hospital, slipping inside before her door closed, and strangling her when she screamed. No remorse, just excuses. He got charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, attempted murder, and stalking. Life without parole. But that wasn't the end. During sentencing, Rachel's sister stood up and said something that shut the whole courtroom up. Rachel had filed a police report 2 weeks before her death about a man watching her in the parking garage. The report was logged and never assigned. No follow-up, no patrol, nothing. If someone had taken it seriously, Evan might have been stopped before Rachel ever walked into that house. Detective Mercer resigned 6 months later. He couldn't shake it. Every time it rained, he thought about Rachel unlocking her door, thinking she was finally safe. Sometimes the real horror isn't the killer. It's the warning signs nobody listens to. And somewhere out there, someone else is driving home right now, checking their mirror, hoping that shadow behind them is just another car. The town of Blackridge looked peaceful from the outside. Tree-lined streets, white fences, coffee shops on every corner. The kind of place where people waved at strangers and left their doors unlocked. But anyone who'd lived there long enough knew the truth. Blackridge didn't stay quiet forever. It just waited. 34-year-old Kevin Marshall thought he had everything figured out. Decent job in tech support, small apartment downtown, a steady girlfriend, and a routine that barely ever changed. He left work every night at 9:15 p.m., grabbed food from the same taco spot, and drove home listening to true crime podcasts. He liked stories about killers because they felt far away, unreal, until one of them started writing his name. Kevin first noticed it on a sticky note taped to his apartment door. "Nice shirt tonight." He laughed it off, assuming it was some weird neighbor joke. But the next night, another note appeared. "You always order chicken tacos." That made his stomach tighten. He told his girlfriend, Mia, who joked that maybe he had a secret admirer. Kevin tried to play along, but something felt off. Nobody should know his routine like that. Then the text started. "Unknown number. You walk fast when you're nervous. You forgot to lock your car yesterday." Kevin went to the police. They told him it was probably a prank. Harassment cases without threats usually went nowhere. They suggested he block the number and stay alert. He did. 3 days later, Kevin Marshall was found dead in his bathtub. His wrists were slit. The bathroom was spotless. No sign of struggle. At first glance, it looked like suicide. Detective Sarah Lang didn't buy it for a second. Sarah had worked homicide in Blackridge for 8 years. She knew what real suicides looked like. Kevin's scene was too clean, too staged. And Kevin had bought concert tickets for the following weekend. People planning to kill themselves usually don't do that. She noticed something else. There was a message written in fog on the mirror. "You missed me." Sarah's partner, Detective Ben Carter, exhaled slowly. "That's messed up." They pulled Kevin's phone records. Found dozens of messages from the same burner number. Creepy observational stuff. No direct threats, but heavy stalking vibes. Security cameras from Kevin's building showed a hooded figure entering the stairwell 20 minutes before Kevin got home that night. Face hidden. Classic. They checked Kevin's laptop. In his browser history, they found searches for how to tell if someone is watching you and hidden cameras in apartments. Whatever Kevin was dealing with had scared the hell out of him. Sarah interviewed Mia. She was a wreck. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. He said someone was following him. Mia sobbed. "I told him he was overthinking it. God, I should have pushed harder." Kevin's neighbors didn't report hearing anything strange. No screams, no loud noises, which told Sarah something important. Kevin probably knew his killer. A week later, another body turned up. This time it was Allison Park, 28, social media manager, found in her car in a grocery store parking lot, stabbed twice in the chest. No robbery. Purse still inside. Phone missing. Same thing again. No witnesses, but written on her windshield in lipstick. "You were supposed to run." Now Sarah knew. This wasn't random. Someone was playing games. They pulled Allison's digital footprint. Emails, DMs, dating apps. Guess what they found? Messages from the same burner number Kevin had been receiving. Same tone. Same creepy observations. This killer wasn't just murdering people. He was stalking them first, studying them, breaking them down. Blackridge PD formed a task force. Media started calling it the Watcher case. Fear spread fast. People started double-locking doors. Gun sales went up. Uber rides replaced late-night walks. Sarah barely slept. She lived on coffee and adrenaline. They mapped both victims' routines. Kevin and Allison had never met. Different jobs, different social circles, but there was one overlap. They both used the same co-working space downtown. Sarah visited the place. Open layout, shared desks, free coffee, startup vibes. She asked the manager for access logs. Turns out, both Kevin and Allison had worked late multiple times in the same week. And another name appeared in the sign-in sheets. Daniel Price, 39, freelance graphic designer. Daniel had checked in almost every night Kevin did. Sarah pulled his file. No criminal record. Quiet guy. Paid in cash sometimes. She brought him in. Daniel was calm. Almost too calm. Said he barely spoke to Kevin or Allison. Claimed he just liked the late-night quiet of the co-working space. Sarah pressed him about the burner number. He smiled. Lots of people use burners. That wasn't denial. That was deflection. They searched Daniel's apartment. Nothing. No phones. No weapons. No notes. Just minimal furniture and a mattress on the floor. Ben slammed his fist on the desk back at the precinct. He's our guy? I can feel it. Sarah nodded. But feelings don't get warrants. Then a third victim disappeared. Marcus Hill, 42, real estate agent. His wife came home to an empty house and an open back door. 2 days later, Marcus was found tied to a chair in an abandoned warehouse. Dead. Strangled. On the wall behind him, written in spray paint. Pay attention. That's when Sarah realized something. All 3 victims had posted daily routines on social media. Gym check-ins, coffee pics, late-night work stories. They'd basically handed their schedules to the world. But Daniel hadn't just followed them online. He'd watched them in real life. Sarah went back through co-working footage frame by frame. She noticed Daniel sitting in different spots every night, always positioned where he could see Kevin's screen, Allison's phone, Marcus's bag. He wasn't just stalking. He was collecting. They subpoenaed Daniel's cloud storage. That cracked it wide open. Hidden folders, dozens of videos, recorded through tiny cameras planted in victims' homes and cars. Bathroom footage, bedroom footage, hours of people living their lives without knowing someone was watching. Sarah felt sick scrolling through it. Daniel had been installing micro cameras during brief moments of access. Co-working bathrooms, unlocked cars, apartment hallways. He'd learned their routines, fears, habits. Then he'd started messaging them, breaking them psychologically before making his move. They arrested Daniel Price that same night. In interrogation, he finally dropped the calm act. He said watching people made him feel alive. Said everyone was fake online, so he wanted to see who they really were behind closed doors. Kevin begged. Said Allison tried to fight. Marcus promised money. Daniel laughed. None of it mattered to him. He was convicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder and multiple charges of surveillance and stalking. Life in prison. No parole. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. 6 months after the trial, Sarah received an anonymous email. No subject, just a video file. She opened it. It was footage from her own living room. Her heart nearly stopped. A message appeared on screen. You taught me well. Turns out Daniel hadn't been working alone. He'd been part of an online underground group obsessed with surveillance and control. They shared techniques, gear, targets. Daniel was just the one who got caught. Sarah resigned the next week. She moved, changed numbers, deleted social media. Because once you realize someone can watch you without you knowing, you never feel safe again. Somewhere out there right now, someone is studying routines, learning patterns, waiting for the right moment. And the scariest part? They don't look like monsters. They look like regular people grabbing coffee next to you.